Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and I was going through my feed and I happened to see a tweet by Paul Joseph Watson that was claiming that Alex Jones had basically been delisted from Google, aka Infowars.com, because let's be honest, it would, first of all, two of those names, it's a pretty common name. There are other Alex Joneses out there, but there's just so much media, so much reporting done on the man, even on a daily basis at this point. How would you get rid of him? So when I saw this, and by the way, I like Paul. You know, I'll be honest with Paul. I don't think I had one really bad interaction. Not that we had a ton, but we definitely talked on the phone and worked together over the internet. So nothing will remain of you. Not a name in a register, not a memory in a living brain. You will be annihilated in the past as well as in the future. You will have never existed. 1984. So you click on the link, and obviously it is an InfoWars link. But he's making the claim that when you plug Alex Jones into this search engine, that he doesn't come up, his site doesn't come up until the third page. So we'll just do it here. You know, I've done it. And obviously, you know, you have the Wikipedia coming up first. Let's take a look. NPR is then the next authoritative source. And we have to talk about these because, look, I may not agree with Jones on everything, but for those that don't know, I am the first person he ever gave a show to, the Info Warrior. And remember, this is youtube.com/Info Warrior. If you're just tuning in and you're not subscribed, subscribe now. But look at this. I mean, Huffington Post for Alex Jones is in the top 5. It's ludicrous. All right, so now we have a splash page. Media Matters. Oh, because I trust David Brock and George Soros to give me authoritative information. Then we go to Right Wing Watch. So that's one down. So far, the article is true. Let's go to the second page. Alex Jones hashtag on Twitter. That's what's coming up. I'm wondering if perhaps he's trending because of this. Because now, again, we're not talking about deplatforming unless you want to now call search engines platforms. Search engines are not platforms. All right? And it's listen, it's beyond that. With Google, how much choice do you have? Now, Chromebooks are out there. They have their own operating system. You can get around that. With a phone, if you want a smartphone, it's very hard to get around either Apple or what? Android, Google owned. If you want to be in the conversation, you have to utilize this tool I'm using right now called YouTube, which is Google owned, all owned by the parent company Alphabet. So now we're into a finance Yahoo article as the next authoritative thing on Jones. Remember, we're not in the news section, but we will go there just to kind of check that out. Louis Farrakhan headline, Hello Magazine. I've never heard of Hello Magazine. Okay, and by the way, that's what I was talking about. There's a couple other Alex Joneses out there. Here's the woman Alex Jones that I was talking about. So now we're already on page 2, and we're on some woman that doesn't get anywhere near the media attention, and we're talking about it keeps going. So now a different Alex Jones on Instagram. Facebook bans Alex Jones from last month. Okay, so now we're gonna go to 3. Will we get to InfoWars? No, we're on Wired.com. We're the Daily Beast. Let's see, PolitiFact, and there you are. Finally, yes, he is correct. And then you get to his IMDb. Why is his IMDb not in the first page? I mean, how is that, something that they need to censor? So now I'm going to reach out to these people and say, look, I got Jones's back on this. If he's such a danger, if he is espousing something you don't believe or you think is wrong, more speech is always better than less speech. And I'm sick of this talk of an algorithm of reinforced learning. Listen, the availability should be at our fingertips at all times. We should not be scrubbing the past, period. We should let all voices be heard and hope and pray that discernment wins out and the better information takes hold of the populace. However, when you have a mainstream media that is clearly putting out disinformation that is detrimental to everybody, well, how do you combat that? After all, that's already poisoning all of our minds. That's already curating content in our heads, believe it or not. Yes, your actions are based on thoughts. Your thoughts are often based on your surroundings or the media that you're absorbing. So when you're constantly bombarded with propaganda such as Iran is an imminent threat, we're going to be doing that video a little bit later, and generals on the ground talking about that, and them getting all non-essential personnel out of that region, and all of a sudden 1,500 troops deployed, and your son is enlisted, and you thought, oh, maybe he would do a tour in Iraq or Afghanistan, and it's really not that bad out there. He's had friends that have come back. It's no picnic. But it certainly isn't a ground invasion in Iran, which now we're being prepped for. So how do you combat that? You know, does Alex Jones have the power to take over the minds of many? Well, I want to talk about this article I came across yesterday. All about this, it's a feature piece on this Caleb Cain and how he went down the YouTube rabbit hole. And now I don't know everybody who's on this thing, right? But Philip DeFranco, who I, barely see, and I certainly don't see him as a right-winger at all, somehow makes this extremist list. Lauren Southern, you may disagree with her. I've only met Lauren once, but she was pleasant to me. Don't get me wrong, she was fervent in debate and definitely trying to get her talking points out there, but not vicious in the least, and I don't think that she's a threat. She really represents more mainline conservatism than anything. Jordan Peterson behind me. Again, he seems, I don't even know that he leans right, for instance. I know that we're talking gender and identity politics here, but I feel like he's just somebody that doesn't fall for those things or go for those things, and he's far from perfect. But a lot of it is that basic self-help stuff that you'd get from a Tony Robbins. Now, I don't know that, I think that's Milton Friedman there, but under Milton Friedman, you see Jones. I always forget what his name is, but he's got a pretty good following on Twitter, the cartoon in the middle, and then Cenk Uygur. Now, obviously, Cenk is on the left, so I'm not sure why they even would put him in there unless they were really afraid of putting Jones by himself, but you see Jones in the top corner. And Stefan Molyneux is another one. Listen, Stefan Molyneux, if you can't, just because he sounds intellectual, I debate Stefan Molyneux on any subject whatsoever any day of the week. All these people, by the way. Lauren as well. Ben Shapiro, please, let's debate on the wars in the Middle East. Let's debate on the surveillance state in this country. I'm ready. Let's go. Please, let's go. Now, over here's an interview of Jimmy Kimmel and somebody else. I'm not even sure who that is. It's almost like they throw together a montage. But I was thinking, I'm like, who is Caleb Cain? Like, he's nobody, by the way. He's just another person. I thought that he had done something horrific and they were going to try to pin this on the right. But all of this stuff is just a way to divide people and try to further entrench them into opposing one another when these sides, they have so much more in common than you could ever imagine. And it's the Leviathan of the state and corporate entities such as the Alphabets, Googles, YouTubes, all the same entity of the world, with our national security agency, the CIA, the FBI, all these other corporations that are taking big data. See, that's just one corporation, but don't think they're not selling all of this information that comes through your little magic box and every other device. Because sometimes you have your magic box on the charger. It's okay. You got a Google Home. You got an Alexa. And we've talked about Amazon. You know, these YouTube bans and demonetizations, they're going way further than that. In fact, I'm hoping, I was in contact with them. If you're watching this Truth Stream, please get at me, and we want that interview today. But Aaron and Melissa Dykes had their film, The Minds of Men, excellent film, completely recommend it, taken off. Had a 7.3, a 4+ star rating on there with, a 4.3 and a 7+ star rating on there, or 7 out of 10. I think it was like 7.3. It's an amazing score. All right. And 73 people had seen it. I'm sorry, I'm misspeaking, but I did a whole video on it. And think about that. They spent years on this. Amazing. And now we're going to have to go back to the DVD format? No. What we're going to do is we're going to find a workaround. And that's what they don't understand. Google doesn't have to last forever. You know, Microsoft's still powerful, not as powerful as they were in the late 90s, early 2000s. And Yahoo used to be the number one search engine. And AOL was the number one messaging tool. And they all thought they were going to take over the world. Remember that AOL Time Warner merger? Didn't work out so well, did it? So, you know, there are many things at play here. But when you delist a guy from the internet, and you expect to still be the number one search engine out there, I don't see how it works. So let's go to Alex Jones in news. And, I mean, here we go. Again, it's Farrakhan, it's CNN. This is incredible. NBC, CNN. 3 CNNs in a row out of the top search engines there. Philadelphia Inquirer, The Verge, the New York Times. You know, some of these articles we've already gone over. And then, first of all, the BBC presenter, Alex Jones, should nowhere near be on the first page. She commands nowhere near the media or importance of that operation, InfoWars, and we all know it. Okay? So to me, this isn't a debate on whether you agree with the man, whether you love him, whether you hate him. I got his back on this. Just like I had his back when I said he shouldn't have been taken off of Facebook, he shouldn't have been taken off of Twitter, he certainly shouldn't have been banned from YouTube, along with everybody else. We give speech to everybody. And then, if you disagree with that, you combat it with more and more intelligent and coherent speech that works. That's how you do it. Guys, if you like this video, please thumbs it up, share it, join the Burmis Brigade, subscribe now. If you're not subscribed, guys, get on it. What are you waiting for? Look at all this content over here. And once you subscribe, a lot of people will tell you to ring the bell so you get notifications. Listen, forget about the notifications. Go up here, make that a star. That way you can just come back and check it out. For instance, yesterday we did an hour-plus long, huge deep dive into the Kennedy assassination and the man who I think is the key to really getting to the truth of what happened. And I really, really do believe that. So if you're interested, go check that out. Go check out my other work on digital censorship, Assange. Probably going to be doing another video on Tucker as he had Glenn Greenwald come on and really discuss the quote-unquote Vox adpocalypse and censorship. So if you enjoy this content, guys, I need you to help me out. I need you to share it everywhere and get out there and engage people. Please, you can be the change you want to see in the world. Thanks again.